Hello and welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show.
Yes.
With, as always, superstar, producer, and engineer Howie Darkstar, the man in black, with the magic mics.
Yes, indeed.
Or the antique mics, anyway.
The antiques, yeah.
And we have our resident rock star, Pastor Jay Brennan from Swing in Temecula, California. In Temecula tonight, not in Vegas, unfortunately.
No, I'm actually here in California.
He's slumming in Temecula tonight.
Yeah, but I have a cool light show. Thank you, Howie.
Yes, you do.
You have become my star pupil. Yeah. Oh my gosh!
I unveiled the mystery light today.
That was interesting.
Oh, you did?
Cool.
I did, yeah.
I got to see that. The light we talked about a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mothership from View, which is my understanding, it's a private label from Guitar Center. This is their light.
I got to look into this.
And I think it's kind of neat. I did an unboxing video. I shot it before I did the teaser video like a month ago or whatever.
By the way, I need to interrupt just for a second, Brian.
Of course.
I have an iPad in my hand right now, and thanks to Howie, you can see behind me, I have a light, but watch as the colors just change. And it's this. Me just doing, thank you, Howie. So as the conversation goes, if I need to change to, like a yellowish or a blue or a red, whatever it's needed, Brian, let me know, because Howie has taught me, much like the whole wax on, wax off thing, I need to do. So I'll leave this over here on the side, but as we go, if I need to just, change things, just let me know.
I will.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay. I'm used to it.
Please go forward. Really?
I don't remember what I was saying.
It's not my MO.
You were talking about that centerpiece light.
Oh, I
love that light, by the way. I think it's a really cool light.
What happened was I get it was supposed to go live, like I was supposed to put the video up like right after the 1st of November, but there are distribution and shipping issues and supply chain issues. Sure. So it's on its way to Guitar Center now, I guess. I don't know. It was just nice to be able to put it up, and I think it's actually something that's unique compared to what we've been.
I think it's a cool light. I mean, what I saw, I think it's a really cool light.
Yeah, after I watched it, I went to see if it was available. It wasn't, but I was able to download the DMX traits, so you can DMX it.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure it does speed. It does the different.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
different colors and the different effects, and you can slow them down or make them fade or make them whatever you want to do.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I expected that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, just in standalone is the only way I was, demoing it. And then later on, I don't know when, but sometime I'll put a video up that includes some footage from when Deb, our friend here of our DJ pal, Deb came to a gig that I was doing. One of my last wedding I did. She asked me to bring the light. I did. And when she got there, she was plugging it in, shooting some video of it. I've saved it in the archives, so I'll put some video up of it at an event. And it's not like a super dark room or anything, but you can see it. I'll do more stuff on it. But I did that today. That was my day. And then I went shopping, and it was a bit of a mess, but it was an adventure at the same time, and had a nice hamburger with Blanca. So yeah, that was my day. Well, one of these days I'll finish my little project back here, which is records. I'm sorting records again. Because I bought myself
for a while before it's sort.
I stopped buying for a long time. I haven't bought anything for a long time, but I did place quite a Discogs order. So
nice.
I've got between 30 and 40 records on the way that I just.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
that works.
Well, the way I do Discogs, you'd appreciate it, Howie. I don't know if you've ever been on the site or not. Probably not. They all media. They have everything. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a cassette tape. It could be an 8-track. It could be a CD. They got all kinds of stuff. But users have stores, so you can like let's say you had a bunch of records, you could put your record collection in Discogs, and then you could decide to sell
what you want.
records, right? Put them up for sale. What you look at, what I do is I find a record that I like, and then I see what the shipping terms that the seller has. Sometimes the seller says it's $5 per record that you ship, or it's $3 per record you ship, or whatever. Sometimes it'll say something like first record's $5, each additional record is 50 cents. Sometimes it'll say first record's $5, each additional record is free shipping. That's when you just start cherry picking the store and just grab what you want, you know, and you gotta kind of balance it out, you know, with the price and the shipping and what's the best deal. That's how you end up with so many records. I didn't actively seek out 30 plus records. I was looking for like 3 records.
You were looking for free shipping.
but I raided the store for things that, you know, would fill holes in the collection. So that stuff should start trickling in. It's all been shipped, I guess, according to the emails that I've gotten.
So Discog is like Reverb for hard gear.
Yeah. It's been around for a very long time.
If you buy multiple pieces, people give you a break and this and that. And...
Well, it's all user. It's a user marketplace. So
that's what Reverb is. It's
Also, can't you find out like what your collection is worth based on?
It'll give you an estimate. It'll be like minimum, then medium, and then on the high end what it would be. Yeah. So it's interesting because you'll have records. You're like, yeah, whatever, who cares? And then you either type in the code or scan in the code from the record, because you can scan it on your app. It's kind of cool on your phone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice. It makes things go fast. Although sometimes you scan something and it gives you 10 options. So you got to dive deeper, and then you got to get your reading glasses out and read the fine print. Sometimes there's nothing on there to scan because the barcodes didn't pop up until like probably the early 80s, and only in America. They didn't do it in Europe until later. So a lot of it you got to type in and find. But you got this record you didn't think anybody cared about, and all of a sudden you look and the thing is like $400. You're like, how?
Well, I have this new Prince Black record, and it's disguised as an Aerosmith bootleg.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see if there might be some like money on it. I don't know.
What's nice about Discogs too, when you have a large collection, if you enter all of your stuff in, if you're disciplined enough to do that, you can have the app on your phone to cross-reference things when you're shopping.
Probably don't have this, by the way, the tractor, scratch, tone. I'm just saying. So I'm thinking I've got probably a couple $100,000 right here.
Oh, I'm sure you do, yeah.
My stuff. Actually, you know what I have that you would like? I'm actually going to show you something you would like. This is a 45, and this is the 12-inch.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually something that was made for us, and it's scratch samples.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you put this on, like if you go to this, it's like like it's all set up, and it's called visual vinyl.
Nice.
Yeah. So I have a few of these. If you'd like one, Brian, I'd be happy to send you one.
Well, thank you. I'd love to have one of those.
Yeah,
for the archives.
I mean, it's worth. I think this is worth $400,000.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I would be happy to give you, just like here you go.
Yeah, I would love it. Thank you.
What I would do.
We lost Howie. Howie got bored and walked away.
Oh well, Howie quit because he realized.
Howie quit in protest because he didn't like the record you were showing.
Different game now. I'm just saying. By the way, I have this thing. It's called the CD. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this.
Oh, yeah. Compact disc.
CD. Yeah, compact disc.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, they're. Oh, by the way, you might like this, Brian. Actually, I swear to God, you actually would like this.
Oh, Howie's back.
Look,
yeah,
this is
I wanted
45.
to show you guys the first record I bought when I was a teen.
Oh, there you go. Oh, 78, Brian? What is that, Howie? 78?
78.
Yep, I figured.
Actually, it's not a 78. It's an 80 RPM. They were having RPM wars back in the late 30s.
Nice.
I don't even know how I have this, but I have this Susie and the Banshees thing. And
which one?
Is it Sugar? I can't even tell. It's kiss them for me.
Yeah. That's what I figured
But
it was.
like, how do I have this? Like a guy that's doing like cassette, CD, but I have it. It's
well,
weird.
perhaps it came in with Michelle's things.
It could have. Susie was a hottie, huh?
No,
For a minute? No?
not in my wheelhouse.
No, I'm just
She
saying.
was not a
Well,
blondie.
she's not dark for you. I know where you're going with this, Brian.
No, it's
This is like I like the white girls. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
you more brown.
You like white meat, huh?
Yeah, that works for me. See, it's like white girl. Yeah, that works.
Well,
Just saying.
I don't think Susie was ever really a sex symbol. I think she was.
By the way, if you guys need stickers, I got like this whole thing, and I'm just saying, just reaching over here,
So,
a bunch of stuff.
so I was wondering, what would you like to talk about tonight, Howie?
Oh, look at this! I got this.
Okay, okay. Is it going to be lighting or microphones? Which one?
If you want to talk lighting, hey Howie, look what
I
I
can
can
talk
do.
about anything.
Hey
What would
Howie,
you like
look
to
what I
talk
can do. Ooh, you want blue?
Well, it's your show. I'll
Well, yeah, but yeah, and because it's my show, I can do whatever I want. So I'm
Thank
asking
you,
you what
Howie.
you want to talk about.
Look, thank you, Howie. Look
All
what
right.
I'm doing.
I'll talk about microphones.
All right.
Really? SM58.
Right now,
Thank you.
Right
Good
now,
night.
I'm testing a mic for Boston, which is in 2 weeks. On the 6th, I'm going up there to hang out with Howie, and
Oh.
they're having an event there. It's a speaker shootout. Ben Stowe is going to be there. It's Shaney's birthday bash as well. A whole bunch
Shaney?
of people that we know that come in the chill room are going to be there. John's going to be there from
Nice.
Boston.
Nice.
He's going to be helping me out, and you guys will anchor the show from wherever you are.
Right.
So I'll definitely be here.
I'll be here.
So this mic here is one of my backup mics, and I'm testing that out because I'll need to have 2 mics to have the guests come in.
Right.
But these mics back here, yeah, that's my antique mic collection. And my prized possession, of course.
Lori.
I don't think we've ever really put this out in a show, but we did.
Yeah, it was in one of your shows. You talked about it, or you were talking about it before your show, perhaps.
It was before.
Okay.
This is a 1939 Electro Voice microphone with a carbon element, and there are 6 known in existence according to the old style forums. And I picked this up, cheap. I got it for $50 because it was one of those. Well, I have no way to test. I don't know. It was one of those sellers, and I knew just as a display piece, it was worth more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I rewired it because the copper turned green, and I tried it out and it didn't work. So I investigated further. Maybe I could buy an element. And an old timer, remember the days, the forums before we had, actual, Facebook and so forth. There were these printed forms, and an old timer comes in to the guy that wants to buy the element, and he goes, "You can't get the elements. They only made them for 2 years. But if you want to check it out, it needs phantom power." The light bulb went off after I rewired it. I plugged it in my mixer, hit phantom power, and it works. So right now, as far as I know, this is the only working Electro Voice Model 75 that works.
That's so cool. It's Electro Voice.
Yeah, and it's
And
Electro.
we know those guys. It's just funny.
Electro Voice, one of our sponsors.
Right. How cool is that?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's stuff I don't know. I just can't get away from the music, or anything related to it. It's just in my blood.
It's fun stuff. It's fun,
Yeah,
especially if you can
Like you with the
go.
records, you got to have this. You're never going to play that at weddings, but you have to have it.
You never know. I mean, I actually have grabbed things specifically to play at weddings if that were ever to come up. I've done that. In fact, what did I grab in this? And it was one of those things that was in the sellers library. Oh, what was it? It was something that I would never own for myself, but I figured, well, for a wedding, of course they're going to want it. Oh boy, what was it? It'll lose me. Anyway, I've got two copies of
George Lamond.
I've got two copies of the Cha-Cha Slide back here. So I've got the line dance thing if I need to do that. There's a lot of stuff back there I could actually pull off a wedding with. And one thing I ordered was kind of fun. I didn't even know this is how it existed. And it just was in one of the seller's piles of things, and the price was very right. So I grabbed it. It's a 12-inch. One side's Outcast, The Way You Move. The other side is Hey Ya. So
Nice.
I'm like, that would come in handy.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's
totally.
a really neat one.
Totally.
Sure.
So I do have things like that. But it
Barry,
is fun.
let me ask you something, because as we end 2021, we move into 2022. I'm actually going to be offering turntables because I have phase.
Right.
As you know, the phase thing. Because I can actually utilize that in my market in high temps and all this.
Right.
So the question becomes, does a vinyl collection be that thing you have, but as a working DJ, it's all about the hard drive with phase or a time code vinyl?
Well, I think it goes back to what we were talking about last week with that tiki bar you went to.
Yeah, which was amazing.
That's kind of how
I will post that this week.
That's how I'm thinking of it, Jay.
Okay.
I'm thinking of it as not that I have turntables isn't this interesting. It's more like I've got this cherry pick library that it's not everything isn't here, but there's some stuff here and we can play it and it'll be fun, but we're limited to what we have here. So we can't download it. We can't stream it.
Right.
It's either on the record or it's not. That doesn't mean there's no value in phase. It doesn't mean there's no value in Serato Scratch Vinyl or whatever you're using.
I totally get it.
I'm looking at it like that. I don't know that there's going to be anybody out there who wants this service. Somebody was asking for it and then COVID hit.
Right.
But I think it would be fun to be able to do it. And my collection, there are some things in there that as a connoisseur, I wouldn't need in the collection. But as a DJ, I'm thinking, this could be useful to have in the collection.
You know what? That brings up a good point. Let me ask you this. Do you see a point where you would go to a wedding, a gig, whatever it is, and bring just vinyl from your collection to play?
Well, that's just what I was talking about. Yeah.
Right, but that's what I'm asking. Do you see a point where you will say, let me grab these albums and I will go do this gig? Like the what is it, Beast Release?
Release the Beat
or,
by Breakwater. Yeah.
Yes, by Breakwater. I'd never heard the original. So when I'm at a bar and it's this thing's cranking, I'm like,
it's unmistakably what you know what it is when you hear it.
Oh no, I totally knew what it was. But I was like, all of a sudden the guy starts singing, I'm like, okay, this to me is the same as when you turn me on to Shapeshifter, Lola's theme with Johnny.
I just like to watch him snap his fingers.
Who's the original?
Johnny Taylor.
Thank you. I had the first name. But it's that moment where you're like, oh my God, I can manipulate what's going on here because I have the original. And it's such a great feeling. And that's watching this guy drop 45s like, yeah, I got this thing. He didn't even know what he had.
I could go out right now with what I have here. I could put together a crate or two and do an event. I couldn't do.
Will you ever do that? Do you
I'd like
ever
to.
think you would like to, but do you ever see a gig where you will say, let me go to my vinyl and just pull it and then show up?
I'd like to.
But do you think it's viable?
I'm willing
to. It's actually a viable gig.
People have asked for it. And like I said, I had one customer who wanted it, but then COVID happened. They wanted exactly that. They wanted me to bring my stuff, and then they had some things.
I think that would be amazing.
They had some things they wanted to bring from their collection for me to play. I think it'd be fun. And I think it's interesting, always interesting, no matter what you're doing, whether it be, anything artistic. I think it's great when you are forced to only work with what you have. You tend to get very creative, and you tend to do some amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm thinking about hot rodders back in the days. They were kids. They didn't have a lot of money. They just worked what they had. I'm thinking about DJs in the South Bronx in the late 70s, early 80s, tapping into power lines to play in the park.
Yeah.
With the big Jamaican sound systems, and Grandmaster Flash literally just rewiring his mixing boards to do stuff like Q that you couldn't do before. There was no Q. He made that happen. And, necessity is the mother of invention. And when you are, and I've been there, man. I mean, back in the old days when we had records, you have this to work with. There's no way around it. There's nothing I can download. There's nothing I can plug in. This guy wants to hear something I don't have. What do I have here? How can I hype it up and play it and get away with it? That made me a better DJ, just doing those kind of things. Just being resourceful with the collection I had in front of me and putting things in an order that was the most sensational way I could think of doing it, opposed to just kind of, playing the tunes. I had to build two things. It made me better. And if I would have had every song at my fingertips, I probably wouldn't be as strong of a DJ today, because I was never forced to.
I totally agree.
I
totally agree with what you said.
The resourcefulness part of it, I think, is the fun part. So if you had two or three crates, yeah.
Well, it's everyone's saying streaming is the way to go. Yeah, streaming works if you know what you're getting. Like, if I gave you 300 million songs, if you don't know what to play next, it doesn't matter how much you have.
Well, it could be streaming. It could just be a large library on a hard drive. It doesn't matter. But I mean,
my point is, like, when people say, "Oh, I got streaming now with Tidal or Beatport or whatever," yeah, that works, but only if you know what to play.
Yeah, the thing with
don't come to me with this whole, I have access to millions of songs.
Jay.
Yeah, but if you don't know what to do, it doesn't matter.
Jay. The thing with the crates is, you don't carry anything with you that you don't need, because those crates are heavy. And every crap record that you have in the crate, you can have a good record in place of that. You're limiting yourself to weight that your vehicle will actually sustain going down the road. So you trim the fat. You definitely get rid of things. You put things in there. It's almost like a hope chest. I hope I have the opportunity to play this, because it would be cool. We do it now. We have tracks we want to play, and sometimes we don't have the opportunity to play them, but those are in the crates.
No,
but we don't have some whack song in there that no one's going to want.
But with weddings, it's different. It's not the same thing where you're like, oh, this will work, this will work, this will work. And then suddenly they're like, hey, do you have this? And you're like, yeah, I do, because I have a hard drive. It's not the same setup as vinyl. That's
how it has become that. Because where I come from, way back, you were indeed limited. Now it's limitless, essentially. I mean, at least that's the perception of it. You should be able to go anywhere you want to go. Trick is to know how to go there. It's not a matter of having the resources or the music to do it. That's relatively easy to do now. The real trick, I think, is to actually know how to pull it off. I mean, you can go into the best mechanics workshop with all the tools there. You still don't know how to build the car. You got to have that skill. It's the same thing with music, but with the records, 100%. Is it practical? No, it is not practical. Is there a better way to do it? Yeah, of course. You can have a big hard drive. And
how about this, Brian? You had brought up about, hey, having a group of, informal group of DJs together and saying, hey, here's the songs, make something with it. Can you imagine just picking blindly from your collection? Here, make something out of this. Whoa.
Yeah. Well, you were here. I think you were here when I was working with Brian Kay, who was here and hiding in the shadows. I'm putting together that karaoke list for that show I did in Daytona.
Yes.
we didn't have a lot to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
But what we did was pick the best we felt would work for that event.
Mm-hmm.
And we only picked 50 songs.
Right.
It's a nice list.
And we had a lot of performances, many more than expected, between 40 and 60 a day between band breaks. That's a lot.
And you said there were only 2 songs were not sung, correct?
I think I determined there were actually 3 because there was a Tool song nobody did. Then there was Jammin' by Bob Marley, and there was another one. There was another one. I don't remember what the other one was. But yeah, the songs were sang over and over again. It's a list of 50 songs I never have to hear again.
I think Brian would have but here's the thing about Brian K. Brian K. would bring you the Breaking Benjamin and those groups.
Well,
totally
we had Breaking Benjamin on the list.
Okay, because that's
it was
Brian
sang.
K.'s thing.
Yeah, but he knew to put it there. Plus, he knows karaoke.
That's
so he
my
was a
point. That's my point. Brian K. is that guy that you look at and go, oh, what the fuck? And suddenly you realize, oh, wait, he's got this group dialed down tight.
Yeah, he knew. I mean, I was picking songs and he was saying, yeah, but I can't see anyone singing that.
Well, like the music I sent you, I was like, oh, you gotta have Pantera, you gotta have this, gotta have that. You may never played any of that, but had you played it, it still would have worked. That's the beauty of being a DJ. It's like, yeah, I didn't play any of the Pantera. Well, if you had, it would have totally worked. You know what I mean? Like, that was the audience.
Well, as far as the music goes, I mean, yeah, I mean, we were incredibly prepared to go any direction. With the karaoke stuff, we were going this way, and that's the only way we could go. And we were doing it with 50 songs or bust. Or bust.
I get that.
There was no turning back. There was no adding to the list. There was no grabbing it from somewhere else. This is it. And yeah, that's how it kind of is when you...
That's kind of the fun of it, though, isn't it?
Well, I think so. And that's kind of what
I agree.
the whole thing about putting crates together is about, you know? You put the best, you cherry pick.
Brian, next year when you do this, get a wheel. Get a fucking spinning wheel and be like, hey, you want to do karaoke? Brrr, Madonna. Brrr, oh, Metallica. Or just, let them get creative.
Okay, I'm going to use one of your catchphrases.
This reminds me of a show we did, a year and a half or so ago, when we made a crate of sing-along songs.
Yeah.
That was a fun show.
The happy songs that you already had? Those ones?
No, not the uplifting. We did one with uplifting.
Oh, like with like Elton John, like, yeah, I get that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It would be something fun to do someday. It's nothing that I think would be, well, let me word this carefully. It's not going to be for everyone. No. There's going to be a very specific client out there who says, this is what I want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you put something together groovy for me? It's like, yeah, I can put something together groovy for you. I'm ready now. I can do it right now with the right client. Absolutely. And have a nice, healthy few crates with some things to choose from to go a couple different directions if need be, to be a little bit of everything.
Right, but you get that, Brian. You've already got 300 songs for 2 hours, which you can't play.
Right.
I did a thing tonight for Boston Rock. I had 135 songs. I only played X number. I didn't play close to what I had.
No.
I didn't even gamble into it. But it's like, I had it, but if I needed, I could have gone there. For what you're doing, it's like, come on.
Well, again, there's no client.
Let's do this. Like, nobody's even mentioned, like, Faith No More. Faith No More was a huge thing in the 90s. So if you get the right age group, they're suddenly like, oh, I want to do Epic. I want to do Epic.
I played Epic. I played Epic last week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I played Epic. I like that song.
I love that song.
But no, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff back there. And I don't know. It's interesting. Certain audiences that I play for, they they don't need to play Stump the DJ with me. They just want good party tunes.
Yep.
And those are the audiences I think who would enjoy something like an all record show.
Yep. I
You show up
agree.
in your old school. I don't think it's even about the performance as far as the visual performance as it is, like you experienced at the Tiki Bar. It was just cool and weird. And
it was insane. Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
So
Chris
I'd love to do
Cox,
something like that.
who
To
we
answer
all
your
know,
question.
Chris Cox tipped the guy $20.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden I did, and CB Shaw did, and all of a sudden there's like, here's $150 suddenly out of nowhere because you know what? We've never heard this music, and it's been
you got
amazing.
You got it.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, we
got
totally
it, and
got
you made his night because he probably made more in tips than he got paid for.
Oh, dude,
the bar.
he wore a Shriner's hat and a jumpsuit. It was like a guy from like fucking, some random Devo act plus a Shriner's hat. It's like, really? Okay, cool. But that's the thing. It's like, I love finding music I've never heard before. And Brian, who is the king of, this sample is this. When I hear something and I go, Daft Punk, and suddenly a guy starts singing, and I'm like, whoa, what the hell is this? And I grab my phone, like Shazam, Breakwater. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And
Well, Jay,
I honestly thought, this is Brian's game.
I always sample spot. I mean, I'm still excited when I hear something because I don't know what every sample is.
No, you do, Brian.
I don't.
Don't lie.
No, I don't. Which is my point because I'll hear stuff, especially on 54 radio, where it's like, whoa, wait a minute, that was Armin van Helden, or that was
right
Milo, or that was Junior Jack, or whatever,
But you get excited like I do. You're like, oh my God, this is so exciting. This is something I don't know.
Yeah, it's fun.
I love that moment where you're like, I don't know this song.
You've become a personal influencer. I play music for Lori for date nights, and she started, I recognize that sample from such and such a song. And I'm like,
yep, there
you've
you
been
go.
watching Brian too much.
Yep, there you go. Well, no, it's those moments. Like, even when I found Brandi Carlile. Do you guys know who Brandi Carlile is?
I do know who Brandi Carlile is.
Okay. Howie?
I've heard the name, and I'm struggling to...
I want you to do me a favor. When the show is over in 6 hours, I want you to go to YouTube, whatever. I want you to look up a song called The Story by Brandi Carlile.
All
and
right.
I want you to listen to it, and then after you're done listening to it, I want you to come back to me and say, I get it now. Because she is one of the many artists that we may or may not hear who is amazing and talented, and there's so much music we will never get, and it's so sad sometimes. Like, God damn, like, why do I not know this? Why am I not on board with this?
Brandi Carlile, The Story.
Yes.
I will do that. I will get back to you.
And you know what, Howie?
You're going to send me your lighting files.
I will do that. But
Jay's still the guy who's mad.
Look, Howie, look what I'm
that he
doing.
can't hear all the great music in his lifetime, and he isn't clicked with him that it's so awesome that there's so much great music out there you can't hear it in a lifetime. And if all
that's
the music
my point, Brian.
No, but the point is you're looking at it as a tragedy. And this is where you're wrong. It would be a tragedy if there was only that much great music and you could hear it.
There's so much great
12
music.
hours and then you were done.
No,
that would be the tragedy.
There is thousands of hours of music I will never hear.
Yeah.
No,
but it's there. That's the cool part.
Here's a real tragedy that actually happened to me back in the late 30s when I was playing records and the party was balling and a broken needle and I didn't have a spare. That was a tragedy. No spare needles.
I did a party one time. Not even kidding you. Okay. This venue was so bad that about 20 years ago, they tore it down and rebuilt it.
Oh, that's not good.
Because the place was just that bad.
That's not good.
The banquet hall, it was a place called Seven Seas. It's a beautiful place on a lake, real pretty. The banquet hall was upstairs. And being a building from probably the 1890s, the floor was a little spongy. So we would go up there and play records at Seven Seas.
I know what he's going to
say. If people would get drunk and they didn't like the track, they would just stop on the floor until it skipped out.
Oh, wow.
And there wasn't a damn thing you could do about it. One guy, I remember one guy didn't know what to do. He set his stuff up on the floor thinking that it would be less vibration and was DJing laying on his stomach trying to keep the skips down.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Good.
Terrible.
Well, at least he didn't tape pennies to the top of the tumbler.
Oh, did that too. Did that too.
Oh, did that too.
Did that too. We all did that. Had to. And it was like there was no choice in the matter. There was all kinds of crazy stuff back in the record days. We would always go out with a spare turntable. Forget about a spare needle. You brought a whole turntable.
Yeah.
Because you just swapped it out that way. Now your spare turntable was always something that was jacked up in the first place, but so whatever turntable broke, it would have to be really broke for you to pull the spare out. That's just how it was in my world. But I don't ever remember there being a problem. I do recall one time we lost a turntable for some reason. But there were two of us. So what we did was we figured out who was the guy who could flip a record the quickest and who was the guy who had the best, BS skills on a microphone. And we just talked between every track until those hypes up. Y'all having a good time? I can't hear you having a good time. In the meantime, somebody's trying to flip the record over and put the needle on and boom. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Being creative, like you said.
Yep.
So, you pretended like you were hyping the crowd. That wasn't your intention, but you had to.
Got to do something.
Right.
Got to get creative. I mean, I don't know. But that's the kind of stuff that I remember doing that, in my opinion, just has made me a much better DJ than I would be otherwise.
Right.
But it all been handed to me.
I agree.
And everything was perfect. And I had all these tunes. I could have any song I wanted at any given time. What would really force me to, do anything? I don't know. It's just you hear about these people who just didn't have much and they were resourceful, and those are the people who were successful in business or whatever.
I did go to swap meets every weekend to buy CDs because when I became a DJ, it was in a topless bar, and I had to have the music. And if I didn't have it, I had to argue my way through it. Like, I know you want to hear Biggie, but I'll tell you what, just like 5 white guys in ties and suits around the bar. Why don't we do some Rolling Stones? No, I want Biggie. I'm like, just trust me. And then send the girl out, play some Rolling Stones for 2 songs. She come back and be like, oh my God, I made like $200. I'm like, great. And she either tip or not. And if she didn't, she was fucked. If she did, we were all good. Like, that was it. It came down to programming, even in that realm. And that's how I started. That was my first encounter with being a DJ was, I remember, I'll be honest with everyone in this channel, the first time I had to go on stage and talk, I freaked out. I got froze, and the guy in the booth was like, hey, everybody, here we go. Here it is. DJ J is taking over. And I went out on stage like this, like, and he goes, I think what Jay means to say is, like, we've got a bunch of beautiful girls tonight and yada, yada, yada. I was like, I walked in, I was like, what the hell? I froze. He goes, you'll get over it. Like, welcome to reality. Like, this is how it works. You have to mix and talk and change and do this, and this. And it was a great way to intro myself into weddings. Because suddenly when I got to a wedding, I'm like, oh, there's no stress here. I don't have like a crackhead in the backstage and a like psycho in the front.
Well, we have to be creative. Like Brian said, I remember, oh my gosh, this was 70s. And the music stopped. And I was like, what am I going to do? I immediately killed the lights and I started tapping on my mic like it was a heartbeat.
Oh, there you go.
Until I got the music back working. And then I slowly brought the volume up on the music and stopped tapping. They thought
That's
that was
awesome.
part of the show. But actually, my music source had failed.
When we were all going from records to CDs, I was trying to go out on my own, and I was working clubs, and they were even going CD. They were getting away from records, and I couldn't afford it. So I took a job at. Go ahead, Jay.
Real quick, let me ask you.
Why not?
I'll give you two names: Larry Levan and David Mancuso.
Okay.
Did they program or mix?
They programmed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
My point is, when we all thought, oh, I have to do this, the reality was the masters of it just played music in a way that kept the crowd just going nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the realm that even now, I've been a DJ for going on 26, 27 years. I still look back on videos on YouTube of Mancuso and Larry Levan, and I go, man, how do I get this, like, release myself, release with Prince? Like, how do I do that? It's not black and white. It's always creative. It's always getting better. I'm just saying, because I know you're a huge Mancuso fan and a Larry Levan fan. So it's like, how do we take that realm of creativity and move it forward?
Yeah, it was just the idea of it, that like, hey, why don't we rent a warehouse and we'll just play some music and I'll program it. And it worked.
It was just conceptual. I mean, I dig it from a conceptual point of view. I think it's interesting from a conceptual point of view. And that's what I think is cool. I mean, and it's just like anything else. If you think it's cool, chances are somebody else is going to think it's cool. Mm-hmm. So, if you look at what everyone else is doing, and, and right now it's in today's world, it's very much about the quick mix, the beat mix, those kind of things. And you think to yourself, how can I be different? Hey,
right.
This is different. This is very different.
Mm-hmm.
And you go with that, and I've modeled myself after this stuff. Mm-hmm. Some of it, well, I'll be fair. Some of it I wasn't even aware of, and I was still doing it. And then I discovered that someone else had done it this way and did it successfully. I'm like, hey, I'm doing what they're doing. But then I've taken some of their ideas and I've incorporated them after I found out about them. I didn't always know about these people. I mean, the whole Mancuso thing was happening around the time I was born, and in New York, in a subculture that I would have no idea about until I read it in a book 25 years later, So in all fairness, it wasn't always an influence, but turns out I was doing a lot of the same things they were doing. And he was just playing stuff he thought was cool. He was just playing stuff that he thought was weird and somebody might dig. And it would probably help if they were high, when they were listening to this trippy stuff he was throwing on. It's probably to his benefit, but yeah, I like that. I like not necessarily being the tastemaker, but being the one that predicts, hey, look, okay, you're into Boston. Chances are you're also going to like these other bands too that are kind of like Boston. Or you dig Jethro Tull. Maybe you'll dig this too. Progressive. Okay, have you tried? Yes. I like doing that. I feel like I have
eventually Kraftwerk.
Pardon?
I said eventually Kraftwerk.
Right.
Well, sometimes.
Well, I mean, as you go up the scale.
Album. Yeah.
Kraftwerk was a weird one because there was a time when there was electronic music and dance music were two very separate things.
They were.
What changed that was Georgia Moroder and the stuff that he was doing with Donna Summer. Stuff like Love to Love You Baby, but more so I Feel Love was the big game changer on there. That's when R&B dance music 4/4 time met electronic, and here we are today where everything is that. Everything. Hip hop is that.
Yep.
You know,
100%.
dance music is that. Even a lot of rock is that. You know, it's that metronome thing happening, and it's got a dance beat if it's 4/4 time. So yeah, sometimes Kraftwerk, sometimes not Kraftwerk, because it was just bleeps and goofy weird stuff. It sounded like you're on the commanding deck of the Starship Enterprise. I mean, was it really music? I guess on an abstract weirdo way, but it wasn't really something you would dance to. It was just wasn't that melodic. It was just weird sounding.
Yeah, getting back to Jay's comment about Kraftwerk, I remember when that came out. What was that? Fawn on the Autobahn. I can't remember the name of that.
Yeah, Autobahn. Autobahn.
When that came out, the classic rock crowd that I was playing to, they loved that.
Yeah.
The rockers loved that. Yeah. They wouldn't dance to it, but they loved it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
It's weird.
100%.
Yeah. It was just something they were like, oh, what's it? Oh, I like this, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was so much music back then that was like that you wouldn't necessarily dance to, but you would just listen to because it was fun to listen to.
Right.
Now it's almost so formulated that it has to be this length. It has to have these particular characteristics about it for it to be marketable.
It's not creative now, Brian. Let's be honest. It's not creative.
Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. You can be creative within parameters.
I would argue it's not.
Of course you would. You're being pessimistic tonight.
Well,
the alcohol doesn't help you.
Well, because when you come down to songs that are like the same format, and it's like this, like, no. Like, do something a little bit different.
I think it's fun to do something different.
Peace
I think
Division,
it's fun to set yourself
Club
apart.
Therapy. Sure. If you've never heard it, trust me. Club Therapy by Peace Division. You will walk away listening to that song on YouTube or anywhere else and go, oh my God, I get it. Because it's just about, I just want to have a beat. I just want to hear some music. You know, the Cardi B, the AMAs the other night was sweaty and Cardi B and this and that. It's like, really? This is not Madonna. This is not Duran Duran. This is not anything that's going to be substantial. Sorry.
I'm telling you, man. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you want that to go away, stop complaining about it and just embrace it. It'll go away like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I love Cardi
as soon as the old people are down with it, it changes. That's just what it is. There's a reason. Saggy pants are still a thing 30 years later because it still pisses off the squares.
Please.
When the squares embrace saggy pants, it'll go away. I promise you that.
I'm a 23-year-old man, Brian, who does not understand the saggy pants at all.
Yeah, I know.
All right, I might be a late 50s man who doesn't understand that, but I'm just saying, regardless. Come on, what the hell? Pull your goddamn pants up.
Well, Jay,
get off my lawn.
It's a put on. It started with people wanting to have street cred because when you went to prison,
I think it started with having wanting to have sex in prison. Howie.
No. The pants they only had one size thing, and the pants would sag on these guys, and they came out, and it's like, yeah, walking around, it's like, yeah, I've been to jail. I got street cred because
I stole it off the rack and didn't check the size first. It was all that kind of dumb stuff.
Yeah.
We had a lot of that.
Go get a couple eggs, home fries, some scrapple, some toast, get a paper, coffee, and just shut the F up.
What the hell are you talking about?
I went there, Brian. Brian's like, wait, what?
I'm actually surprised, though, Brian. It's almost 50 minutes now, and he hasn't talked about money yet.
Nope. Not gonna
doesn't mention money.
Not gonna.
He has other things to complain about tonight.
Because I got the iPad, Howie. Check it out. Oh, look at this. Thank you, Howie. Look at this. The lights behind me and right there.
And I think quitting while we're ahead is probably.
Oh, wait. Going
wise.
red? Wait, I'm going to go over
Yes.
here. Blue. Yellow.
So maybe we'll
Green.
have a conversation about Jay showing up to work sober for next week. Maybe we'll have
Wait,
that
what?
I don't know.
Sounds
It
good.
could happen.
It could happen.
Hey,
In
this
the
is not a
meantime-
real gig.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Tune in next week when Howie said,
Hold on. Hello. Izzy? What's up? What did John Young say? No? Okay. Well,
No.
tell him
Absolutely not.
$400,000 a show. Thank you. Bye.
We'll see you next time.
I
Good
hope
night,
so.
all.